That was some really good art, actually. It's really good concept art. Way better than most of the concept art I've been seeing here in the Final Fantasy collection on the PlayStation 4. This is the pixel remaster of the original Final Fantasy, which came out in 1987. I thought it was 86, but 87. In the original Japanese Famicom system, the family computer. It was eventually, several years later, in I believe 1990, brought over to the United States, which is the game I played. It's not the first RPG I played. I did play Dragon Warrior because I rented it from a local video store, and I was a massive fan of it. Didn't never beat it, but that was the game that sort of introduced me to conventional console Japanese console RPGs. Now, I'll go into more detail about that as I play through this, because I played through the original Final Fantasy 1, a bit of Final Fantasy 1 on this channel via the NES Classic. So what do I want to do here? Well, what I could do is, again, the idea is to create a party that you want to play with later. What I'm afraid I didn't do, and I wish I had done this earlier, was, well, I didn't actually go through the trouble of creating a party just for this game. So what I'll do is I'll start from the beginning. I'm gonna have a couple of red mages, because we know what's up. I would argue you don't really need a warrior. I would argue you can just get by with a monk, right? A monk and a bunch of red mages sounds kind of hilarious. I don't think the thief is really that useful. The white mage might be useful if you really gotta have a healer, but that's what the red mages are for. Arguably, I mean, the warrior apparently is the only character who can use that really big sword at the end of the game, the Masamune? Masamune? I don't know. You could just have 3 red mages and a monk. That sounds amazing. Not opposed to any of that. I mean, the way I'm playing, I don't think it even matters if I have a warrior. And you don't need a black mage, really, if you got a red mage, right? Is that the logic I'm going to apply here? So first things first, we got to have Vitor, the Starfire champion. Wait, that's not it. So we'll figure it out at some point. And we got Vitor, the Starfire champion. As the monk, we'll get back to him later. We'll figure it out. For the red mage, well, we could have, who's the blackest red mage? The maroon mage. Sexy red. Yes, Smexy red. Yeah, we'll think of something. So we got Rouge. We could have Rouge, I guess. That makes sense. All for one and one for all. Assassin's Creed Rouge. And we can have another. Again, you gotta give these people different names so they don't get mixed up when you start buying items for them at the store. So I can confirm that. What color? Crimson. Tchalla Crimson Briggs, the Crimson Chin. And so who's gonna be our monk? Well, it's Black History Month, so I guess we can have Dr. King. So we'll make this, yeah, we'll pretend he's a monk for the purposes of this. For the purposes of this game. Okay, so we got MLK the monk, Vitor the Starfire champion, Rouge the red mage. Rouge and Crimson are the red mages. I haven't quite. I guess if we can change our names later, that'd be amazing. We'll figure it out. I'm not saying I can always tell when people are stealing my content. Let's just say, if my name shows up in some B-roll footage, at least I'll know where they got it from. Because no one's heard of Vitor, the Starfire champion. And no, I don't know most of the words to the theme song. I just know half of them. Calico theme songs kind of went extra. It's like Calico hired some dude, I don't know, they hired some musician, I guess, who probably wanted to be like an actual, factual, like Hollywood music producer, like from the 80s. And the vibe, how do I say it? The vibe I get from the sound could best be described as 1980s Christian rock. 1980s Christian synth pop, I guess. Soft Christian pop, I don't know. But yeah, if you listen to Denver the Last Dinosaur and Widget the World Watcher and Vitor, the vibe I always get is they had all the studio equipment. But it's like, hey, let's they were kind of doing a Disney thing. Let's do let's do a bouncy sort of, kid-friendly, let's do a bouncy, Kids Bop theme song, like the old Disney afternoon cartoons used to do. Well, not Disney afternoon, really. I don't even know the Wuzzles theme song. But yeah, Gummy Bears definitely had one. Yeah, Gummy Bears, DuckTales, of course. Chip and Dale vs. Rangers, yeah, so Darkwing Duck was a bit jazzier, sure. None of this stuff was the original NES game. I'll pull it out later. Or at least I want to say it was like a Star Wars, screen scroll. At least that's my impression of what it was. I can pull out my NES Classic eventually and play more of that. I didn't bother to check and see if I could skip that. So, yeah, we got a game save here. But yeah, I didn't save any progress. That's okay. Let me check on something. We'll override it if we have to. And, so if I load the other game save, so I have the same setup. Yeah, the exact same setup for my backup save. For my, Tchalla, Art Monk, the old Washington, wide receiver. Taryn Spriggs, and Scarlet. So it's the same vibe. Makes perfect sense. So we'll overwrite that. Vitor. I'm going with Vitor. Of course, in the original game, the character, your name could only be 4 letters long because cartridge restrictions, cartridge capacity restrictions. I want to say this game was maybe 1 megabit. Tops. This is from 1987. I wouldn't be shocked if this cartridge was half a megabyte. Half a megabit. We're talking 512 kilobytes probably. Puny. We're talking about a cartridge that's smaller than most JPEGs. Yeah, back then NES games had about as much space as a meme on Twitter. So yeah. Yeah, you had to fit a lot of content into a very tiny space, which is why you have, very simple art, not many colors, not a lot of letters and words. It is what it is. I'll change the font if I have to, but let's actually get around to buying stuff. Before I do that, I want to see what I have. So yeah, I have a knife. Okay, that's enough for me to, slaughter things once in a while. Encounters are on, so that's good. So we can handle random enemies, but if we're going to grind up... Actually, we do have a bit more money, don't we? So yeah, that's 1 mob. So we get 24 experience, so we should level up very quickly. We do have... Yeah, so we have start off the game with 500 gil, so we can afford to buy some loot. But thankfully the game gives us something. Let me check on something. Brother man here can't go barehanded. Yeah, why is he fighting with a freaking staff? You should be able to go bare knuckle. Staff is less accurate, so let's give the Crimson Chin a staff. He doesn't want a staff. I think the black belt monks can carry all weapons, but by the time the game ends, they're better off fighting barehanded. Not a lot of strength. Whoop. Yeah, they know what's up. Bust them in the mouth and they run away. Pop! That's what's up. But yeah, I mean, I played this game when it launched. I think it was actually a Christmas present, I want to say. And I got the big NES strategy guide that came with it, so that basically told me how to play the game. What was it? Well, you know what they always recommended? They recommended a warrior, a monk, sometimes a thief, but usually it was a warrior, a monk, a white mage, and a black mage. It was always like that. This map was an Easter egg in the original NES game. I believe you held down the select button, then you press start, and you would get a map that would show you a less detailed map, but you could see all the points of interest on it. And I can't zoom in, but I always thought this was cute. We're basically starting the game in Montevideo, Like this map, if you look at it, kind of looks like, yeah, it looks like South America and then Central America, and then above us is kind of, in a way, the United States. Then if you go southwest of us, it looks like Africa, except it's inverted. Yeah, southwest of us looks like Africa. I guess you could say southeast of us looks like Russia, in a way. So it's kind of cute. I'll go into more detail about that when I get on an airship, but yeah, if you're a map nerd like I am, I'm like, yeah, this looks like South America, and the port down there would be Montevideo or Buenos Aires or something. So we're bare in the middle of America. I mean, there are worse maps. I just thought it was cute that, yeah, in the northeastern corner of the map, kind of looks like a pterodactyl in a way, with the beak over in the northwest corner of the map. And the map is round, to my knowledge. Once you get the airship, you should be able to fly. The screen wraps around, so that makes sense. Don't remember where all the I don't remember where the all the areas are. Cornelia. So it was called Corneria in the NES game, but I guess again, translating L's into R's was a thing for a lot of Japanese games back then, but for a lot of American localizations. Well, she's not dancing. There are dancers in every Final. I guess dancers are like Sid and Chocobos. They're in every Final Fantasy game at first. They might still be in modern Final Fantasy games. And they're probably really smoking hot. I don't know. It's an anime game. What do you expect? So you can buy some much better gear. Yeah, we can afford this. Not for everybody, but for like one dude. Yeah, leather armor for the mage because he needs something. Yeah, you can cheap out and buy leather armor, but for less than half the price, yeah, for like barely like 30% more, you get way more defense, I guess. So it might be worth it in that sense. And I do like that you can equip the items here. I don't know if you could do that in the original game. I want to say you couldn't. Okay, so what can brother man here wear? We'll have to buy better clothes for him. Okay, so if you strip him naked, he has better defense. Is this like Hakudo no Ken or something? Is he the Fist of the North Star? Is he stronger when he's naked? Like, what's his name? Who got literally covered himself in feces for the Zombie 100, for the Zom 100 anime. This makes him stronger, so the Nunchaku make him stronger, that's good. So regular weapons are crap, but he's good with Nunchaku. So a staff would be better. Well, it only costs $4. That's fine. So we can do that. Rapier's a 9. This is more accurate, but the red mages can wear them, okay, so. Just buy the most expensive weapon, then. They're cheap enough. So why use the hammer? We can use the rapier. There's no, like... Yeah, there's no blunt damage in this game. There's no, like, blunt, piercing, slashing damage system in this game. Okay, so no one needs the knife, then. It's just something to mess around with, I guess. What's the point of even having the knife? Just give everyone a rapier. Oops, forgot to equip. Yeah, the shopkeepers wouldn't say hello or goodbye. You would just walk up to them and buy stuff, and the menu would open. Which is what you would expect from a late 1980s Famicom game, of course. Yeah, why even bother using a staff? I guess the game just gives you one of each weapon so that no matter who you pick, everyone's going to be armed. I guess that makes sense. He's supposed to be naked. Yeah, why is his defense... I chose optimal, but he has more defense when he's naked. Bizarre. It's not that kind of channel. Oh, I guess I wasn't supposed to use that. So everyone's... Okay, so he can fight with a staff. That's fine. He's just as strong as the red mages are with the rapiers. That's fine. Okay, so we're gonna clean up. Again, maybe 3... The soundtrack probably has like a dozen songs in it, and I would say only 3 are good. The soundtrack is fine. I do think it's hilarious how this armor is just way more expensive than the weapons. Do you want to protect yourself or deal some damage? Clearly. Oh, the story. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, this is very, yeah, the, art style is a bit more colorful than the Famicom game, sure. I would argue the sprites the sprites have the same, the sprites are about as detailed. Well, the sprites are the same size, but they made them more detailed, I guess, so there's something there. Because NES Famicom sprites are not sporting this kind of color palette back in 1987, absolutely not. Now, maybe by 91, yeah, by like 1990, you had MMC3 chips. I mean, and then again, the Super Mario Brothers 3 had an MMC chip. But yeah, the MMC3 chip, no, better even. The MMC5 chip, which Castlevania 3 was using. Batman Return of the Joker had its own kind of MMC5 chip. I want to say Kirby had an MMC5 chip. There were, I think there were about 5. I think Gimmick had an MMC5 chip, but they were like, without getting too geeky about it, there were fancy chips that Nintendo used, that Nintendo cartridges were allowed to use, to expand the capabilities of the NES. Like, for people who know, Super Mario Brothers 1 was the most... Are there any, just a second. 6 chests in here. I have no idea what she's yammering about. The original Super Mario Brothers was apparently the largest possible cartridge on the original NES. That the cartridge could basically, the hardware on the Famicom could only read like what? 1/4 of a megabit of data, which is to say, it's like, I guess, how do I describe it? It's like a zip code. The NES was only, the Famicom was only capable of reading zip codes if your zip code was in the state of Maryland. And if you wanted to pull up addresses that were in Pennsylvania, you needed a different chip. And that was what the memory mapper chips were about. They used bank switching. So if you wanted to read addresses in another state, you needed to tell the NES, okay, don't look at zip codes within Maryland, look at zip codes within Pennsylvania instead. So put down the Maryland zip code book and open up this Pennsylvania zip code book. So again, the NES basically the NES couldn't count to 10. So okay, if you want to, the NES could only count to 10. So if you wanted to read information that was stored in an address where the number is higher than 10, you needed bank switching so that your brain switches from low numbers to higher numbers, I guess. There's probably a better way to explain it, but the idea is that, I mean, bank switching. I mean, I guess you could think of it like a Tupperware container. The Tupperware container only fits so much food in it. So you have to tell the NES to, like, don't look at that Tupperware container, look at a different Tupperware container. So I guess you could argue that there's, I guess it's like, it's hard to describe, I guess. But the idea is that, look, we can only read so much data at a time. So we just tell, it's like turning a page, I guess. You have a page in a book. You can only read the date, you can only read the words that are on this one page. The MMC chip apparently allowed you to read a different page. You could literally turn the page. But that was apparently, you can only fit so much, so you just swapped out. You swapped out the data you were reading from, which is fine. Yes, we're fine here. But yeah, but the whole point was to expand the abilities of the NES by saying, okay, we have more data now. We just have to tell it where to look. And that's where the banks come in. And like Zelda 2 would do that. Zelda 2 on the NES would do that, and it didn't really work very well. Because I think, was Zelda 2 a cartridge on the Famicom, or was it a disc? Because I know that Metroid was a disc. Hold on, I gotta swap this out. Wow. That's a lot of leveling up. No complaints. Yeah, they're showing the Venture Brothers. Sling TV. as a Sling TV has a free streaming service called Free Stream that I usually watch to catch up on some Adult Swim stuff. They have they would have stuff like Bird Girl. They only have a few episodes of stuff like Bird Girl. They have some anime, not a lot, like the English dub of Zom 100. They might have like 2 episodes on there, maybe 3 tops. But they'll include like 100 episodes of like Venture Brothers. Like they're showing like all the seasons of Venture Brothers on there, I think. Which is great because Venture Brothers turned out to be a much better show than I thought it was gonna be. Like I mean, when it came on, it's a comedy, but it's one of those really expansive, you know, TV comedies that, you know, when the era when peak TV was ascending, the idea was, okay, what kind of content can we include on television? And obviously by the time Adult Swim blew up, they said, okay, we don't have to do like cheeky, you know, fake talk shows with Hanna-Barbera characters. Like we don't have to do like Space Ghost Coast to Coast or C-Lab or whatever. Actually, we're past the year C-Lab should have been a thing, right? This is 2025. C-Lab 2025, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, everyone's going to go back to C-Lab and try to figure out what happened with COVID, huh? But, yeah, it's like, when they did Venture Brothers, they're like, okay, let's do What If Johnny Quest. Let's do Johnny Quest now, except let's not make it as cheeky. It's still a comedy. But you could tell they were trying to, like, be more expansive with their storytelling because they weren't just trying to be a gag series. They were trying to have world building and characters, character arcs and world building and backstories and show bibles, things that you would absolutely never need on the Brack show. You know, stuff that wasn't needed for like a sitcom. Stuff that you know, if you were making a sitcom, the Brack show or Aqua Teen Hunger Force is fine. But they figured out at some point, they can go really wild with it and actually do massive. Here we go, we got a crew of 9. They can get really nuts with it. Yeah, so it's like the pirates have the same deal. You would fight a crew of pirates and they'd be stacked 3 by 3 like this. So you can whittle them down eventually. Yeah, some of them will flee, which is nice. I don't know if you get experience points for getting them before they flee. I need to buy cure spell charges, don't I? I'm gonna turn off the auto battle. So I want to say the rapier is the strongest weapon here, right? The nunchaku should be fine. Oh yeah, I want to say there's auto targeting here. If in the original NES game, like on the NES Classic, if you all targeted the same enemy and that enemy died before your turn came up, like let's say there were, again, all 4 people target the same people, the first person kills them with a critical hit. So what happens? Well, the next 3 people in your party just wind up whiffing on their attacks because the game wasn't smart enough to switch targeting to another enemy that's still alive. Again, this is 1987. People didn't do the logic yet. So you would... The strategy for a game like this usually meant knowing how strong your party members were and having each of them target a different enemy so that they didn't waste a turn whiffing by attacking air because the enemy died before your turn came up. And again, that's strategy, but it was annoying. I'll be the very first person who would concede that. Okay, we have to buy spells here, so we'll do that in a second. But yeah, I tell people that because, like, again, these 80s Japanese RPGs were still figuring things out in terms of basic code. In terms of, like, basic AI, basic logic, so... We're gonna have to buy something. We're gonna have to go to an inn and then buy some... Well, because remember, in this game, I think this game had the original Dungeons & Dragons idea. Okay, well, the game won't let me wash, so whatever. So I guess it doesn't wash. This, yeah, white magic, black magic. That's what the symbols mean. And yeah, the music in this game is like maybe 30, 40 seconds long. So it is what it is. A really good lighting effect in here, though. First of all, you're a white mage. Why is this place so dark? Dia Lipa. Protect. Actually, I thought cure spells did damage to undead enemies. Blink. Raises 1 ally. Oh, blink only raises the caster's evasion, not the evasion of your allies, huh? Intriguing. Yeah, cannot learn. So that's cute. And it shows you how many charges you have. That's hilarious. That's a nice feature. I'm glad they added that. Again, for all of you low level, students of game development, improve the user interface of a game like Final Fantasy 1 without completely breaking the balance that's already in there. But yeah, it'd be nice if you could, have the option of playing the game as it was intended, and this game does not. You're playing the rebalanced version. So if you're curious how the original game works, pull out the NES Classic, basically. And even then, I don't know what changed. It's tended to happen in that era. NES games would rebalance the combat or rebalance the difficulty level from the original Japanese. They would make some things easier. Maybe you would level up more quickly. I don't know. Maybe the encounter rate would be higher or lower. I don't know. You would have to read some FAQs on that. If I find out more information, I'll mention that in future videos. But I'm playing these games straight out the box. I'm not digging into any FAQs or what is it? I'm not doing any disassembly. I'm not running through the code like the Displaced Gamers channel would do. The Red Mage can't. Yeah, the Red Mage can equip. Yeah, the Red Mage can do this. So the Red Mage can equip mid-level, low and mid-level white magic and black magic. They cannot equip or learn higher level spells. So I want to say the strongest fire spell, I think it's called Fire 3. Okay, I should probably mention this. In the original NES game, this spell, remember, you were limited to 4 characters per name. So Thunder was called Lite, I guess. The second strongest, this level 2 Thunder spell was called Lit2. And the strongest spell was called Lit3. And so on and so forth for the fire spells and the ice spells. And now they can just use they have all the space in the world. They have a freaking Blu-ray with a hard drive. So obviously they have the space for all of this. But in the old days, you had to be very economical with your nomenclature. You had to be very economical with your text, very economical with your names, with your speech, with the dialogue. So make a note. That's the way it was, but we didn't like it. We just dealt with it. We used to stare at the sun for fun. That's the way it was. We liked it, even though our eyes would melt. That's the way it was, and we liked it. That's the way it was, and we dealt with it. That's all you need to know. That's all you know. It's all you need to know about the '80s, kids. That's the way it was, and we dealt with it. I lived in the DC area before Fallout 3 went down, and it was pretty bad. Well, I didn't live in DC. I lived on the outskirts of DC, like most people. I was supposed to go to an inn and go to sleep and heal myself, so we'll get to that eventually. Let's consider doing that. We have enough money for that, don't we? I didn't double check to see how much money I'm earning. See, I blew half my stash. They gave me $500 and said, "Okay, go out and save the world with $500," which is even. They didn't give me enough money to arm myself, really. They gave me a butter knife, a Deku stick, and some bare hands. And they said, "Save the world." But thankfully, the enemies around here are just, goblins, so we can deal with that. Okay, that's cute. Again, that was not in the original NES game. Again, you can't have a bunch of colors. Like, this kind of looks like the NES game, honestly, in terms of the color palette. You can't have a bunch of colors. I want to say the cobblestone streets here are not in the original NES game. I want to say the patterns are more simple. But, yeah, in those games, again, not a lot of animation. No backgrounds when you're in the combat, just a black background, and there was like a little window at the top of the screen with like a little image at the top of the screen of like some trees or some sand or some water, But the actual battlefield right here where the enemies actually are, it was all just a black square. Which I think is kind of hilarious, honestly. Like this is how primitive the games were. Like, this is how primitive the graphics were. We were in a rectangle on the far right side. The enemies were in a big square in the middle of the screen, a 9x9 square. And that's all they did. And the artwork was, like I said, just a little rectangle at the top of the screen. A nice little picture of some trees in the background. Like, that was it. It's adorable. Like, if I already have RPG Maker, but if I were using it, I would definitely muck around with that. But I mean, I guess if you're starting out, you can make a game like this. But if you were to make a game like this today, again, the combat's not sophisticated, so you make the combat less random but more puzzly. Something closer to a Persona game, like a Megami Tensei game, I would argue. But yeah, this is not the kind of combat you want to sit through for like 80 hours. Like, you would have to like make the enemies. In other words, you'd have to make the combat more strategic, not just, you know, fight, and occasionally heal. That would just be a waste of time for everybody. Let me at least show you how the magic system works. When you're playing with mages, you are allowed. Yeah, so I think these are the weakest spells. I forget exactly how this works. Like in Dungeons and Dragons, the original Dungeons and Dragons, apparently, you don't have MP, you have charges. So I'm allowed to cast this spell 3 times a day, quote unquote. And to recharge your magic spells, you have to go to an inn and sleep. So magic spells are kind of like potions in a sense. They're free. Well, they're not free. Well, you don't have to pay for them, but you have to pay for an inn to recharge them. So you can use magic spells in a fight. You can use magic spells outside of battle. You can also use potions. Potions are for people who don't want to carry around charges. Arguably, if you have enough potions, you don't need white mages, but white mages have things like, you know, healing, not just healing spells, but they have like walls to protect you from magic spells. You can reflect magic spells, as I recall, in this game. In fact, I believe late in the game, there is a legitimate strategy late in the game where you're supposed to cast a wall so that enemy spells don't wipe out your party. And whilst there's a boss fight that requires that. But again, I don't know when the depth actually starts showing up. How are we on level up? I want to say the game shows you. Yeah, the game says when you level up next. That's fine. I guess I should explain how the experience system works. Because I want to say the game rewards you a certain number of experience points, and they're divvied up equally among the members of your crew, which makes sense. So we'll see what happens at the end of the fight. But yeah, we're one-shotting dudes. We're not afraid of any of this. I had to double check to see if we got 24. So that means we split that. So each party member gets 6 experience, which means basically in 3 more fights we'll level up. Then we can move on. We should probably be fine. I just don't want to go very far if I have to. Actually, I can go as far as I want, because remember, the whole point is that you can turn off encounters. So if you're tired, if you're too weak to make it back to town, you can just turn the encounters off. Which again, which I think is a quality of life feature, because it means you're not wasting money on things like special items that decrease the encounter rate, or you don't have to hunt for chocobos like in the Final Fantasy sequels. But if you're to ask, like, what's a good starter RPG? Honestly, I don't think Final Fantasy 1's a good starter RPG. Arguably the Mario games are much better starter RPGs, but I mean the numbers are smaller, but there's also like real-time platforming, so that might be fine. Again, for most people, Pokemon is their first RPG, and that makes sense. Is this better than Pokemon? I think Pokemon's kind of tedious, but it's... Love this song. Suitably creepy. I want to say there are skeletons in here. Treasure chests in here. 13 treasure chests in here. So we can chill here. Grind. We can chill and grind. See if we can get some treasure while we're here. Yeah, we probably can't attack him. Magic. We can use cure on him, right? Guess we can't. I guess the problem, we can't target enemies with cure magic here. Okay. Okay, so in this game you can't target enemies with cure magic. Let's flee. Okay, we should be able to kill these guys. So the rest of us escaped. Okay, so we're good. So we should be able to whittle these guys down. Foreboding, and spoiler alert, we'll be returning to this castle after we defeat the boss later in the game. Mystic Key. Ooh. Do the enemies drop the Mystic Key? Wait, don't flee, don't flee. I guess we could flee a little bit. Yeah, we should probably flee. Okay, we can kill these guys, but they do a lot of damage, so. So we'll heal ourselves after the fight. Did I forget to put on armor? That might be the problem. Because one of my dudes took a massive hit. We're getting way more experience from these guys, so yeah, this might be the way to do it. Stay on that grind. Okay, so how you want to do this? How much? I don't know how much a spell costs. So we got magic. So during a fight, we're gonna fight. But after the fight, we can use magic. We can't target multiple party members. I want to say there's a healing spell we get later in the game. I'm trying to remember that allows you to heal all of your party members simultaneously instead of targeting individuals. Equip. Oh, this dude's got leather armor. That's the problem. Okay, so we need to get him some better armor. So we do need to buy better armor. So we're fine in terms of attacking. Yeah, the monk's the strongest. But no one else could equip the Nunchaku, right? Yeah, he can't equip a Nunchaku. Okay. So he could fight barehanded, but he's just strong. He's just stronger with the Nunchaku. And it was like $8. Because remember, you start the game with 500. So I want to say the game throws you a bone. This version of the game throws you a bone very quickly. Yeah, he should just be naked. He has stronger defense when he's naked. It's a thing. Sorry, fellas, no female monks. It's not that kind of Japanese game. I mean, I'm sure someone would make one. I'm sure someone already has, if I'm being honest. That's a big hit with the Deku stick. Vitor showing up with the Deku stick. And I always loved these bones. They were called Bone in the NES game. No, I think the higher level skeletons were called Bone, but I love that character art. It's like taking a big old swing with their own bones. I always thought that was hilarious. Again, decent. One of the things I always liked about the original NES game was the character art. Like the enemy character art. I mean, like your heroes looked lame, but because they had to be animated. So, but the enemies, they had a lot of palette swapped enemies. But the character art, the amount of detail on the character art was very good for an NES game at the time. So the game made an impression at the time because the character art during the enemy character art, these static images, were very well done. And I would say they look decent here. I mean, maybe in my mind they looked better on the NES on a CRT, but yeah, the enemy character art always looked good. Okay, here we go. Zombie. So we can wipe these dudes out. Let's see how much experience I'm getting. We'll find out in a second. Yeah, so we're getting like what's quick math, kids? What's 96 divided by 4? That's 96 cut in half again. So it's 43. No, excuse me, it's bad math. 48, 24. So everyone's getting 24 experience points for fighting these enemies. So we should level up pretty quickly. Leather cap. So who needs the cap? Actual cap. Arguably he needs it. Yeah, so he's the least weak of this crew. So we have to go back to town and get some more loot. We have to go back to town and get some better armor, but we'll be fine. Because you know how it is. In these games, you get better armor by going to the next town. It's one of those games. Black Widow, best kind of widow. Yeah, I need a heroine called the White Widow. I guess she could be like Cloak and Dagger. Didn't what's his name? Cloak and Dagger. Wait, did Dwayne McDuffie do Cloak and Dagger? Because I know he did damage control. Which again, fascinating idea. Can't believe, like, why didn't I think of that? A group of superheroes who clean up after superhero fights. Why didn't I think of that? Now, was Damage Control good? I don't know, but Dwayne McDuffie wrote it, so I'm fascinated. Or at least I think he was involved. I don't know if it was his idea or if he just helped with some of the scripts. But then again, I forget exactly where. I forget the timeline of the Milestone comic stuff. You know, Static Shock, all that. Icon. I think it was the late David Wise once told me that he wanted to do a TV. She wanted to do an animated version of Icon for Saturday morning, and Kids WB said no. Because at the time, I want to say DC had gotten the rights to the Milestone comics, which is why they made Static Shock in the early 2000s. But I want to say in the late 90s, I think it's when David was pitching ideas for Icon. I think he wanted to convert Icon. I think he wanted to adapt. Because remember back then, you know, X-Men was huge, and he read enough comics, and I wouldn't be shocked if he wanted to do Icon. Yeah, 90 experience points for that one fight. Yeah, Vitor is leveling up really quickly. He's getting a lot of HP. So that might be his thing, is that he gains HP very quickly. So he will have to heal at some point. So again, we have 2 mages. We have a few more charges than we would have otherwise. But now we have to head back to town probably so we can get some more charges. Like I said, we don't have to do that. We can just turn off the... Got a potion and a tent. We can always just turn off the encounters if we have to drag ourselves back to town. Yeah, we need better armor, so we'll end the video by getting some better armor, you know how it is. But I guess what I should be doing is comparing this game to the original game. So I can pull out my videos. My videos are on this channel. My Final Fantasy videos are on this channel, including all my NES Classic dives into this game. But I'll play that version. But I'm gonna buy this collection because I'm a sucker for anthologies. And I'm a sucker for Japanese RPGs. So putting like potentially 300 hours of content on one Blu-ray. If this game drops to like $20, it's a must-buy for people like me. But I think for most people, I would not recommend spending $60 on something. I think this game costs like $50 on most consoles. I would not spend $50 on this collection. But if it's on sale, like I got Star Ocean 2 back there. Star Ocean 2 arguably has as much content as this entire collection, but Star Ocean 2 is not a good game. Fantastic soundtrack, though. It's an all-timer. It's a Hall of Famer, but... Sakamoto bias and all, Sakuraba bias and all of that. We can't open these. So we'll head back. Ugh. Brought the whole crew. So we'll save the game and end the video and just kind of tease the next video. I'm pretty sure we're not going to win because we don't have enough items to survive the boss fight. So we'll do, I guess we'll do it like a ReZero and just kind of pretend we're, Okay, it's not looking good. I don't know who's the strongest enemy here, so we'll just fight whatever. We gotta whittle these guys down. So we'll target individual enemies. We want the monk to one-shot dudes. Yeah, monk's not looking good. He's only a yellow belt, if you can believe that. Yeah, have him one-shot the guards. Someone whiffed. Oh, I think he was trying to flee and he whiffed, because he knows what's up. So, quick math. 141. That's not good math. Wait, 141, really? So that's like 70 experience points per person. But again, that does not divide into 4 equally. Just saying. So someone's getting left behind, I they're all, I guess the game rounded up. I don't know. So we're level 6 now. So we need some magic. No. I couldn't see because the freaking trophy was in the way. So we're going to head back home. Well, I mean, again, we're going to heal ourselves and head back. Yeah, not going to waste any potions. We're out of cures. Okay, so we're fine. So we can get back home. Like I said, we can turn off encounters if we have to. Once we get outside. We don't have nearly enough health to deal with the boss. So this nunchaku should serve us well for the next dozen hours with the monk, I would argue. So we'll save the game, we'll tease the next fight, crawl back to town and buy some better items. We're doing okay. We did what we were supposed to do in this video, which is grind up while I vamp. Okay, Darth Vader, hand over the girl. Hand over the anime lady. Villain! Anime villain? This will not go well. Let's just see what we do. We're strong enough. Well, we just don't have enough health. So I don't think we can really survive a really drawn out fight with this dude. Yeah, we're doing better than I expected. Okay, never mind, we won. Give me the loot! It was off the Remy. 130 experience. Not as much experience as I expected. That's 65 divided by 2 is what, 33 basically. So yeah, now I have experience for this boss fight. Did it, fam. We won the game. We saved the princess. We saved the world. Well, if we ignore all the other stuff. I wasn't paying attention to the story or anything. Yeah, we're here to rescue you. No aliens jokes, please. Dumb A colonists. Oh, haha, no backtracking. That's hilarious. I love that. That was not in the original game, I want to say. Again, stuff like that. You would add stuff like that. Kind of like... I mean, again, there is a thing about people who my age, you know, it was a whole thing where it's like, yeah, you have to buy enough potions because you're dragging yourself back to town because you have to backtrack. You got to drag yourself out of the dungeon because you don't have a warp spell, you don't have a escape pipe, you don't have a warp potion, you know, you gotta, I know, and the idea that it's an option is nice, but, you know, options. Gamers like options. Give me the loot. So this is video number 2 when I was playing. This is video number 2 when I was playing the NES version, but anyway, whatever. I was playing on the NES Classic. I got the loot on video number 2. I will always say, give me the loot. Like, that will always be one of my best video titles of all time. Along with the, yeah, Phantasy Star 3, a generational leap into mandatory waifu grinding. I don't remember any of this. This is definitely not in the NES game. This is definitely not in the NES game. And for people who know, the developer, Nasir Gabelli, or the main programmer, Nasir Gabelli, who was, I think he was Iranian-American. I don't know if he was Iranian-American, but I know he was Iranian. And there was a whole thing, I think, when Final Fantasy III came out, when there was some kind of work visa issue, so he had to go back to the United States. He couldn't stay in Japan. He had to go back to the United States, and Japan brought over a few, like, developers to help him finish up the game. It was a weird administrative thing. Chaos Shrine. So let's see if we can trigger the title. See if we can trigger the credits before we end the video. Wait, am I healed? No, I gotta spend the night at the end. Fine, I'll spend the night at the end. I didn't double check to see if there were any chests inside the castle. I guess I can do that later. I'll figure it out. So again, why do this? Because I have no more charges left on my magic. So let's just do this now. Actually, I think I can buy more cure. I can buy like multiple cure slots, can't I? Well, we'll find out in a second. What time is it? Okay, we got 10 more minutes. Not so bad. So we saved, so we can buy some more loot later. But I at least want to see what's going on inside this bridge. I want to trigger this. There it is. Yeah. Greater color palette. So that's cheating, but we'll take it. And yeah, I did like this particular shot where it's like, yeah, they already went over the bridge, which I guess you can see. You can see the bridge. So looking back over the castle, and now the story begins. So yeah, late title card. But yeah, it's a nice touch, you know. I tend to believe a modern game, like a Final Fantasy 1 remake, would literally be like you're stuck on that island for like the first hour of the game, like Horizon Zero Dawn or something. And now the game really begins. This is the end of episode 1, I suppose, or episode 2. I can't speed this up. I can't speed this up. So again, the whole, you know, Star Wars title crawl, you know, makes sense. And yeah, I wasn't paying attention. I'm not paying attention to the story. I mean, again, it's probably safe to say this. The stories in the first 4 Final Fantasy games are apparently not a big deal. Maybe Final Fantasy 5 and 6 are worth it, but even then, like Final Fantasy 6 is like, it's its own thing. Like it's ambitious in a way that a lot of RPG stories couldn't be because they didn't have the space before that. Now, Final Fantasy 4 was about fitting like an epic story into like 1 megabyte. You know, 8 megabits. You know how it goes. Counter's off. So what I need to do, I need to get more weapons. So well, that's our tease for the next video, of course. I should have ended the video there, but you know what? We don't make highly produced content on this channel, as I'm sure you've noticed. That's not our vibe. That's not our vibe. There's an argument to be made that I shouldn't buy any of this stuff, and I should just wait till I get to the next town. Yeah, we already have everything we need. Well, he's carrying... Wait, what's the fighter carrying? He's carrying the staff. That's a waste. Hammer time. We'll figure it out. I mean, this stuff is cheap. And I don't need... I don't really need the money. How much money am I going to get? Yeah, I'm not selling. I can't sell the chainmail. Echo grass. So I guess we could sell the clothes. Yes, we have to. Fine. Can't wrap around the numbers, but that's okay. Again, basic interface stuff. So we have to get better armor. I mean, this is way more expensive than the weapons, which I think is hilarious. So, chainmail for everybody. Well, yeah, the monk can't. Remember, he's better naked. So I'd argue there's no reason for him to have it. So we'll give him the leather armor and see how he does. We have to go to another place and buy some helmets. You know how it is. Give me the loot. So we needed that. So he can't wear... Yeah, the leather armor does him no good. It decreases his evasion. So it's weird. It's like so again, he's basically just naked and he's dodge. He's a naked dodger. That's all he is. Which is fine, you know, I'm not judging. So I'll save my game here and see if I can buy some more charges. Because again, if I could put cure on all 3 of my spell slots, that'd be hilarious. But I don't know if I can like sell spells. Just before I do that, let me see if there's any chests inside the castle. This is all prologue, y'all. 6 chests in the castle, so I guess we should get these while we're here. Before I forget, let me just see if I can buy the extra spells. Again, it's sort of an antiquated idea where instead of using magic points, you get charges instead of magic points. I'm fine with that. But it's very limiting, as I'm sure you would expect. Like, you're buying slots, and the slots Or like, they're like slots, they're like batteries, I suppose. Learn cure. So I can't, like... Okay, so you can't buy... Yes, no one else can learn it, and I can't buy any more slots for cure. So that's the problem. The only way to get around that is to buy... No, I'm not buying that. Yeah, I can't buy it. The game won't let me buy it. Can't learn Dia. Can't learn Dia Lipa. Okay, so that's what's going on. Okay. So you can't buy more than... You can't assign more than one slot to cure. Cure is allowed one slot and one slot only. So you can't, like, buy 2 cure spells and put it in 2 different slots. Not the way it works. Which I think is hilarious. So I tried. Don't know what to tell you, but I tried. So I guess in the next video, we're gonna get the pirate crap. Yeah, we're supposed to... So, if there are treasure chests here, where are they located? Because there are 3? 6. Also might be hidden in some area I'm not aware of yet. We're gonna find out. Gonna give me the loot. You're welcome. Gonna give me the loot. Got anything I can sell, honey? Make some cash. So it's narratively important, I suppose. Well, it's an RPG. Of course, the loot is narratively important. Yeah, like, how do you make a story like this? Yeah, there are no characters. There's just classes. Like, and again, obviously your protagonists are all mute. Or they're all mute. She means stay. She means stay and marry her, I guess. Oh, so she's like the guide. Okay, because all the other Final Fantasy, she just dances and does nothing important. Or in Final Fantasy IV, she actually turns into a pig. An actual siren. Wait a minute, I thought there's supposed to be 6 treasure chests. Yeah, what the heck? Where are they hiding? Give me the loot. I mean, there's no, like, secret passageway here that's floating in the middle of this, the sky. No. Yeah, I don't see any chests. Where are they hiding them? Are there any secret doors I forgot to enter? Hey, up there. Yep. How do I get up there? Well, there's your problem. I bet those treasure chests gotta be in there, but how do I get there? Like, it's so unblocking? Well, hold on. Okay, I gotta go around. Sorry, I gotta go around. Sorry. This is not, again, this is in the original game, but you wouldn't know that unless you read the map. If you had the Nintendo Power Guide, sure, they would tell you where the treasure chests are. You know how it is. They would have the little image with the little numbers on it, and it was like the numbers would be mapped to all the numbers would be mapped. Wait, where am I going? Yeah, go down. Yeah, let's go down here. So I don't have the key. Is that the problem? I think I need these. I need this at the end of the game. Yeah, I think the items here are hidden away. I need a key to open the door, and the key isn't given to me, so that I need these weapons at the end of the game for the final boss fight. I want to say, they got me. So yeah, all the best gear. Now I'm sure there's like some kind of cheat code where I can unlock it right away. All doors unlocked. just destroy the game with like overpowered gear. That would be amazing. So what do we need? We probably need more potions, I would